Have you ever paused to wonder why some of the hardest things in life, the heartbreaks, the failures, the delays seem to arrive when you're least prepared? What if I told you that nothing, not even your deepest pain, happens without purpose? According to Buddhist wisdom, life isn't random. It is intricately woven with causes and conditions, like a vast, invisible tapestry where every thread matters. What we call accidents, coincidences, or setbacks might actually be teachings in disguise. In today's video, we'll uncover 11 profound lessons and one bonus insight that reveal why everything truly happens for a reason. From the law of impermanence to the power of karma and the freedom found in mindfulness, you'll learn how to stop seeing life as something happening to you and start living in alignment with its deeper intelligence. This isn't spiritual sugarcoating. This is grounded Buddhist philosophy for people facing real pain, real loss, real uncertainty, and still daring to ask, can peace be possible even now? Stay until the end, where we'll offer a powerful reflection that just might change the way you see every moment from this one forward. Let's begin. Lesson 1. The law of impermanence, embracing change, ending suffering. One of the most liberating teachings in Buddhism is also one of the hardest to accept. Nothing lasts. Not your success, not your sorrow, not even the identity you think defines you. This is the truth of anarcha impermanence. Everything is in a state of flux, whether we want it to be or not. Yet the root of suffering, the Buddha taught, is our resistance to this truth. We cling to what feels good and we push away what doesn't. But either way, we fight against what is. Think of a river. It doesn't argue with the rocks in its path. It moves around them, shaping and reshaping itself as it flows. A tree doesn't grieve when autumn comes and its leaves fall it, knows spring will return. Why can't we live like that? I once met a man who lost his job, his partner, and his home within months. At first, he panicked. He tried to restore everything exactly as it was, but nothing worked. Only when he stopped resisting, when he sat in meditation, and simply whispered, "Maybe this is my new beginning," did his life truly begin to change. Not because everything got easier, but because he finally stopped gripping what needed to pass. Here's the insight. When we stop chasing permanence, we stop fearing change. And when we stop fearing change, we begin to live with real freedom. So the next time something in your life crumbles, don't ask, "Why is this happening to me?" Instead, ask, "What is this helping me become?" Because just like the seasons, you too are meant to evolve. Lesson 2. Karma, cause and effect in daily life. In the West, karma is often reduced to a punchline, "They'll get what's coming." But in Buddhism, karma isn't revengeite's responsibility. It's not divine punishment. It's cause and effect, unfolding with precision. Every thought, word, and action plants a seed. Some sprout instantly. Others may take years or lifetimes to bear fruit, but nothing is ever wasted. Imagine you drop a stone into a still lake. Ripples expand outward, touching shores you can't even see. That's karma. One kind word can ripple through generations. One act of cruelty can echo in your own mind for years. A woman once shared her story with me. She had spent years bitter over a failed marriage, blaming her ex-husband, blaming fate. But when she began to study karma deeply, she asked herself, what patterns did I repeat? What choices did I ignore? That shift from blame to ownership set her free. Not because the pain vanished, but because she reclaimed her part in the story. Karma doesn't ask you to blame yourself. It asks you to awaken. You are not powerless. You are planting seeds every single day. What you plant, you will one day walk through. So ask yourself today, what kind of garden are you growing? Lesson 3. Attachment and learning to let go. Buddha said it clearly. Attachment is the root of suffering. We cling to what we love, fearing its loss. We grasp at control, fearing the unknown. And in doing so, we build our pain with our own hands. But here's the truth. You don't suffer because you love. You suffer because you try to possess what cannot be held. Let me tell you about Kai, a friend who held on to a relationship long after it had ended. He checked his ex's social media obsessively, replayed conversations, held on to old photos like lifelines. He wasn't holding on to the person, he was holding on to the idea of how things were supposed to be. One day, he sat across from me and said, "I thought letting go meant I would lose her. But the truth is, I had already lost her. What I hadn't let go of was the story in my mind." Buddhist wisdom doesn't ask you to stop loving. It asks you to love with open hands. Love that clings becomes prison. Love that lets go becomes peace. Try this. The next time you feel yourself clinging, whether to a person, a plan, or a version of yourself, pause, breathe, ask, what am I afraid to lose? And what freedom might I gain if I let go? You don't lose by letting go. You lose by refusing to flow. Lesson 4. Acceptance flowing with life, not against it. Have you noticed how much energy we waste trying to control what can't be controlled? We make plans, set expectations, demand perfection. And when life says no and the weather shifts, when people disappoint us, when things fall apart, we suffer. Not because of what happened, but because we resisted what is. Buddhism teaches that acceptance is not resignation. It's the wisdom to stop fighting reality. There's an old Zen story of a farmer whose horse runs away. His neighbors say, "Oh, what bad luck!" The farmer simply replies, "Maybe." Days later, the horse returns bringing wild horses with it. "What good luck," they say. "Maybe," he replies again. Later, his son breaks his leg trying to tame a wild horse. "Bad luck again?" "Maybe." Then, the army comes, drafting every young man except his injured son. Life, the farmer knew, unfolds beyond our judgments. And what seems bad or good today might look completely different tomorrow. Acceptance is clarity without resistance. It's asking, what can I do with what is, instead of mourning what isn't. A woman I worked with once told me that after losing her job, she cried for weeks. She felt humiliated, rejected, lost. But months later, she said, that layoff forced me to discover who I really am. It wasn't failure, it was redirection. Try this practice. When something uncomfortable arises, instead of saying, this shouldn't be happening, try, this is what's happening, what now? That small shift resistance to awareness is the doorway to peace. Lesson 5. Hidden lessons finding meaning in adversity. What if your greatest teacher was the very thing you're trying to avoid? We spend so much time asking, why is this happening to me? But Buddhist wisdom invites a more powerful question. What is this here to teach me? There's a story of a disciple who saw a caterpillar struggling in its cocoon. Out of compassion, he cut it open, but the butterfly never flew. It needed the struggle to build its wings. The resistance was its preparation. What if your pain isn't punishment, but preparation? I once knew a man who lost everything. His marriage, his savings, his health. He called it the death of his old life. But he later said, that devastation, it was the doorway It broke me open. It showed me who I really was. Buddhism doesn't glorify pain, but it doesn't waste it either. Suffering can harden or awaken us. It all depends on the lens we choose. So next time adversity knocks, try asking, what muscle is this building in me? Patience, courage, self, trust? Pain breaks the illusion of control, but it also reveals the strength that was always yours. Lesson 6. The wisdom of impermanence. Trust the flow of change. Nothing lasts. Not your joy, not your sorrow, not even the confusion you feel right now. And that is your freedom. In Buddhism, this truth is called impermanence. It's not just an idea, it's the very nature of existence. The seasons shift, bodies age, emotions rise and fall like waves. But here's the problem. We cling. We want the good moments to last forever, and we want the painful ones to disappear instantly. But life doesn't freeze for our comfort. It flows. Picture a river. It never resists its course. It doesn't grasp at the stones or mourn the banks it leaves behind. It moves. And so must we. There's a woman I once taught who feared aging. Every birthday, she sank into sadness. But one day, while watching autumn leaves fall, she said, "Maybe I'm not losing beauty. Maybe I'm just changing form like the leaves, and that's beautiful too." When we stop clinging to what was, and stop fearing what might be, we can finally arrive in what is. Try this mantra. This too will pass. Use it in joy to remind yourself to savor. Use it in sorrow to remember it's not forever. Impermanence doesn't make life meaningless. It makes every moment sacred. Lesson 7. The power of acceptance. Let reality be your teacher. We spend so much of our lives wishing things were different. If only they loved me more. If only I hadn't made that mistake. If only life had gone according to plan. But here's a quiet truth that can change everything. Peace begins the moment you stop insisting life should be different than it is. Acceptance doesn't mean apathy, it means clarity. It means seeing life as it is, not as your ego demands it to be. There's a famous Zen parable about a farmer whose horse runs away, and the neighbours cry, "Such bad luck." The farmer simply says, "Maybe." Later, the horse returns with wild companions. "Good luck," they shout. "Maybe," the farmer replies. Over and over, the story unfolds. A broken leg, a spared draft, a series of misfortunes and blessings, all seen with the same even gaze. Because the wise know, we don't see the full picture yet. Acceptance is the skill of holding space for uncertainty. It's the strength to stay calm in the face of what we don't understand yet. A student once asked me, "How do I accept things I hate?" I told her, "You don't have to love it. You just have to stop fighting it, because fighting reality is the fastest path to suffering." Acceptance isn't giving up. It's choosing not to waste your energy resisting what already is. You can't always control the waves, but you can learn to surf them. Lesson 8. Letting go of attachment freedom begins where clinging ends. We chase, we grasp, we cling. To people, to outcomes, to old versions of ourselves. And then we wonder why we're exhausted. Buddhism teaches that attachment is the root of suffering, not because love or ambition is wrong, but because we tie our peace to things that are always changing. There's a story about a monk who carried a heavy bowl everywhere he went. One day, it slipped from his hands and shattered. The monk smiled and said, "Ah, now I can walk lighter." The bowl wasn't the problem. His attachment to it was. You might be holding tightly to something right now, a relationship, a job, a self-image, believing that without it, you'll be lost. But here's the truth. The tighter you hold, the more it hurts when it changes. Letting go doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you stop trying to control. You can love someone and still set them free. You can pursue a dream and still be at peace if it doesn't unfold exactly as planned. Try this reflection. Am I holding this with open hands or clenched fists? Because real love, real purpose, real growth, they don't come from gripping. They come from flowing. Lesson 9. Karma and responsibility. You are the author of your path. Karma is often misunderstood. It's not punishment. It's not revenge. It's not cosmic justice. It's simply this. Everything you do, say, and think leaves a trace. Imagine throwing a pebble into a still lake. The ripples spread. You can't control how far they go, but you can choose the stone. Buddhism teaches that our current reality is shaped by past actions, but our future. That's being written now. There's an old story of a disciple who asked, "Why was I born into hardship while others seem blessed?" The teacher pointed to a garden and said, "Some seeds blossom in spring, some in fall, but all were planted. You're not a victim of fate, you are a gardener. And every thought, word, and choice is a seed. Think about your daily habits. Do you plant patience or reactivity? Do you speak from kindness or control? Your karma isn't just shaped by big dramatic actions. It's formed in the subtle moments. The way you speak to a stranger, how you react to traffic, whether you forgive yourself for failing. This isn't a call for guilt, it's a call for awareness. Because when you see yourself as the author, you reclaim the pen. Life doesn't happen to you, it happens through you. Lesson 10. Acceptance of self, the inner war is optional. We are our own harshest critics. We tell ourselves we're not enough, not successful enough, not kind enough, not spiritual enough. We carry a secret war within, and we wonder why peace feels so far away. But Buddhist wisdom offers a radical invitation. You are already enough, not because you're perfect, but because you're whole, even in your becoming. There's a Zen story of a master who handed a student a cracked bowl. The student asked, "Why give me something broken?" The master replied, "It holds water just fine, and now it lets the light in too." Your flaws don't disqualify you from peace. They're how the light gets through. We think growth means fixing ourselves. But true growth begins when we stop fighting ourselves, when we drop the armor, when we allow the present version of us to be seen and loved. Self-acceptance doesn't mean we stop evolving. It means we evolve from love, not lack. Try this affirmation. I can grow without rejecting who I am today. Because healing doesn't begin when you become someone new. Healing begins the moment you treat yourself like someone worth healing. Lesson 11. Everything happens for a reason. Find purpose in every moment. We've all asked it. Why is this happening to me? When life falls apart, when people leave, when plans crumble, it's natural to search for meaning in the mess. But Buddhism doesn't offer hollow comfort or shallow answers. It offers this. Everything is a result of causes and conditions. Nothing is random. In other words, everything happens for a reason. Not because life is cruel or kind, but because it is interconnected. There's a parable of a farmer whose horse runs away. The neighbours cry, "How unlucky!" The next day, the horse returns with 3 wild ones. "How lucky!" they shout. His son breaks his leg trying to tame one. Terrible news, they say. But days later, soldiers come to draft all able-bodied sons except his. To each event, the farmer replies, "Who knows what is good or bad?" You see, we only view events as good or bad based on limited perspective. But over time, what broke you often becomes what built you. Maybe that heartbreak saved you from a worse fate. Maybe that job loss redirected you to purpose. Maybe that illness taught you how to live. You may not see the full picture now, but trust that life is weaving meaning behind the scenes. Your suffering has roots. Your detours have lessons. And nothing is wasted. Bonus lesson: trust the unseen growth. The seed blossoms in the dark. Imagine planting a seed. You water it, nourish it, but for days you see nothing. Then, just when you're about to give up a sprout, breaks the soil. That's your life. There are times when you feel like nothing's working. You're healing, doing the inner work, staying mindful, but you don't see results. Buddhism teaches that growth often happens in silence beneath the surface. Just like a seed must push through darkness to blossom, your soul is growing even when you feel stuck. There's a Japanese proverb, "The bamboo that bends is stronger than the oak that resists." When you surrender to the moment, even without evidence of progress, you strengthen your roots. So if you're in a quiet phase, trust it. If you're in pain, trust the transformation. If you feel like nothing is changing, you're becoming. The next version of you is already unfolding. Not with noise, not with rush, but in divine timing. So breathe. Let go of timelines. Let go of comparison. Let life bloom through you. Because sometimes the most powerful shifts happen long before the world ever notices. 11 lessons to help you stop chasing life. Surrender is strength, not defeat. Stop forcing, start flowing. Presence is your only reality. This moment is all that's real. You are not your thoughts. You are the awareness behind them. Acceptance transforms pain into peace. What you allow can heal. Impermanence is your liberation. Nothing lasts sand that's freedom. Karma is not punishment, it's reflection. Your actions echo. Let go of attachment. What you cling to can cage you. Acceptance of self is radical peace. You are whole, even now. Your suffering has meaning. Look at the teaching, not the tragedy. Mindfulness is the path to freedom. Breathe into the now. Everything happens for a reason. What feels lost may be a redirection. The seed blooms in silence. Trust the process even when you can't see it. Don't just watch, live it. If any part of this spoke to your soul, pause. Breathe. Let it land in your heart, not just your head. And before you scroll to the next thing, ask yourself, what can I let go of today that's been chasing me? Let life come to you. Let peace find you. Let presence carry you. And remember, you don't need to force what's already meant for you. Like this video if it helped you slow down. Share it with someone who's tired of running. And subscribe to the Enlightened Mind for weekly Buddhist wisdom that helps you live with less striving and more soul. Thank you for watching. Until next time, may your path be still, your mind be clear, and your heart free.